So, Lydia, why are things like yoga and Reiki and breathing, why are they so important, especially now with everything happening in the world? Like why is
Mm.
wellness so important?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it while you were introducing me here at the start, but I truly believe that having healthy individuals on this planet leads to a healthy collective, a healthy society on this planet, and that is so important now more than ever. I mean, obviously, we're in a pandemic, so we need our health now more than ever. And there's just a lot of shift and change happening in the world that we all need to kind of cope with and ride those waves together. And if we don't have that baseline of our own personal wellness and that ability to kind of go inward and know ourselves, then it's going to be a lot harder to come together in support of a healthy planet. So to me, having these baseline practices to support your health and wellness is so crucial. And especially, I've found that a lot of people, at least in Western culture, have a hard time being with themselves and being still and being quiet. And to me, that's one of the deepest practices that comes from yoga and breathing and Reiki and meditation and whatever it is that you like to practice, is just that patience and compassion to be with yourself, as scary as that may be at first. I mean, we all have our crap to deal with, right?
Sure.
So being able to just kind of sit with that and let yourself breathe through it and work through it and move through it is so important. And then when we have a planet that's filled with people who are breathing and doing yoga and feeling happy and fulfilled in their own bodies, just imagine what the world would look like if each of us was doing that.
Right.
To me, that's a future that I want to see. And that's a vision that I keep in mind every single day when I'm doing this work, is thinking about our human potential and what we could create for this planet.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah,
I think that's the way to deal with the collective problem, one person at a time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people get discouraged in that they think as one person they can't make a difference, or they think that doing these practices or doing self-care is selfish. But really, I see it as the least selfish thing that you could possibly do. When you're taking care of yourself, then you can take care of others. When you have compassion for yourself, you have compassion for the planet and every living being on it. So to me, it is actually imperative to be doing this work. And I don't just say that because it's my lifestyle and what I do for work, but I really truly believe that you need to have that fulfillment on an individual level before you can take that out into the world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you. I love that.
absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Well, and I guess I would add to that too, just a message just to people out there. You've found fulfillment through yoga or through these spiritual practices. Not everybody's going to find fulfillment that way either. So it's like, that's not the message that we're trying to convey either. Although it is definitely, like, I'm never going to be that fulfilled from yoga.
Right.
I do practice yoga. I try like 5 days a week usually. But, and I love it. And it's helped me so much to calm my mind. It's helped me even in my day to day, like when I start stressing, I can recognize it right away and I can calm myself down.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never going to be my thing. You know, my thing is helping people become deliberate thinkers, because I'm a thinker and I love to think things through and I love to analyze information. That's my thing. So just to throw that out there too, that everybody has to find their own thing that brings them peace and that brings meaning to their life.
Yeah, I love that. We definitely all have our different pathways, and
Right.
we need to have our different pathways for
Right.
things to work in a synchronized way. And it really comes back to me, it always comes back to exploration and trying things out, trial and error, until you find what lights you up.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think
Yeah.
that's a lot of what's missing from our culture too, is that everybody tends to think everyone has to fit into the same box.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we don't all have to be the same. We don't want to be the same. That would not do
No.
anybody any good if we were all the same. So it's being open to that fact that other people find their way in a different way than you do, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, I love that.
And that kind of seems to me like what yoga kind of does, because it allows you to practice in your own way. Practice yoga in your
Yeah.
own way.
Yeah, I find yoga to be a deeply personal practice. Even
Hmm.
if I'm in a studio full of other people, I'm very focused on what's happening inside and on my mat. And I think that's something that can be so powerful. I mean, especially if people are starting their practice of yoga at home online right now,
Hmm.
they really, I mean, they have distractions around them for sure. I mean, just your phone alone can distract you away from the
Sure.
practice, but really giving yourself that space alone for a moment just to really get familiar with these movements. And when those shifts come up in your mind and your body, that might be kind of alarming at first. You're giving yourself that space on your own to kind of recognize that and face that before, you know, you go into a classroom full of people.
Right, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Lydia, can you give us a bit of an insight into like what your daily routine would be? You know, what are your non-negotiable things that you would do to keep yourself in a really good headspace?
Yeah, I love this question. My daily routine is definitely something that I stick to quite fervently, especially my morning routine. I find that kind of makes or breaks my day. So I'm a firm believer that if you consume before you create, you probably aren't going to create that day.
Oh,
And
that's
it just,
great. I love that.
right,
Yeah.
Very good, yeah.
it puts you in a completely different mind space. So for me, my day always starts with no phone for usually about an hour. I start by going outside and just kind of soaking in the fresh air and hopefully the sunlight, but you know, the rain if it's raining, and
Right.
just giving myself that space out in nature first thing in the morning that really grounds me, which is super helpful. I'm one of those people who, when I wake up, my brain is on. So I really need something to kind of bring me back to earth and give me that presence before I move on with my day. So usually I start with that time outside, and then I'll do some mixture of a movement practice, meditation, journaling, manifestation, whatever I feel I need in that morning. It's always some kind of mix of those things in some kind of order, but whatever I need to focus on that day, whatever my body's telling me is what I do. And then from there, I'm able to be in the space where I'm nurtured first, and then I can go out and create and make things for other people. And I always give myself that space for creation first. As I said, if I consume first before I create, not, you know, a very productive day. Not that production is everything, but I do really value creative time. So I try to give that a lot of space first, and then all the more kind of administrative tasks of my day go towards the end of the day when I'm feeling tired. And then before bed, I try to, you know, be away from blue light and all that kind of stuff. I will say I'm not as consistent with my sleep routine, but that's where I get to practice forgiveness with myself, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of my own little recipe for success that I find. Morning time, I'm a morning person anyway, so morning time is super crucial for me, and then that helps my day unfold in just the perfect way that it needs to.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Create before you consume. It's like that's so
That's
simple,
so
but
great.
I know.
Right.
I'm like, I want to get that on a t-shirt or something.
I've written it down, you know, typical nerdy PhD student. I'm like, I need to take notes so that I can remember it later. But it's so true. I think
I know.
we all consume straight away. I'm terrible for it. I really need to break that habit, because as soon as I get out of bed, let's check my phone. Why?
Yeah.
You know, like take that time to wake up and actually create, I suppose. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. Thank you.
Aw, thank you.
You've just given Adam permission.
There you go.
I'll chuck to you, Amanda, because I keep
Okay.
asking all the questions. Sorry.
No, I thought you were turning it over to me, so I was just making sure. So kind of to wrap things up here, getting toward the end of our time, what would you say to people out there who feel that knot in their stomach, like they're settling for an unfulfilling life, but they're scared to take that jump? They're scared to make a change in their life. They're scared of being out of control, like you
Mhm.
were at one point in your life. What
Yeah.
is one message that you would like to leave them with?
So I think for me, something that really motivates me to get out of that place of stuckness is knowing that growth does not happen in your comfort zone. And as scary as it may be, or as uncomfortable as it may be, you have to get out of those bubbles that you've created for yourself. And what's the worst that can happen if you do it? I mean, I think so often we're prone to catastrophize things right away and just go straight to worst case scenario rather than daydreaming about the best case scenario and really envisioning this amazing future for us, rather than, you know, to me, it's so much scarier to stay in that place of stuckness and to feel that, right, to feel that heaviness of being unfulfilled. And that to me is so much scarier than bursting out of the bubble and just trying and failing and succeeding and letting whatever happen. But that bubble has become really the worst thing to me. And I know once you get out of that bubble, once you make that shift out of your comfort zone, it's going to be scary every time still. But after that first leap, you have a little more confidence. And then after that second leap, you have a little more confidence. So it's just kind of building one on top of the other until you're ready to really burst out into your full potential, which is what the world needs right now.
Absolutely. Yes. I think that's what we're all working toward, is to help people realize their full potential. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
thank you for sharing that.
Oh, of course. Thank you.